Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Heather with the Junk You Should Know show, and we are airing a little bit early today because I am at the Toronto airport and getting ready to board a flight, and I will be in the air during normal junk show time. So I thought I would post a little early today. I hope you enjoyed today's show. We're talking about productivity and its impact on your wellness. And so we're going to jump right in. I've got some great stuff for you. So thank you again for watching the show. If you ever miss a show, it always lives forever on the Well Fit and Fed YouTube channel. So you can head on over there, subscribe, and that way you'll never miss a show. So one of the questions I get from clients is a lot angled around stress. And very often the stress is coming, or at least in part, from a lack of productivity, time management tools, prioritization. And so I thought I would do a quick snippet. We're only going to talk for a few minutes today about productivity and its impact on our wellness. So first of all, one of the things that was most impactful for me is when I learned and understood how our brains work. So our brains work like a cell phone battery. You wake up, you've got a full charge. By the end of the day, it can be drained. Fully drained, mostly drained, and what we do during the day impacts that brain battery. So decision fatigue, making too many different decisions all day long, that eats away at your battery. Having to focus or multitask, having to pay attention to a lot of things. Obviously stress, disorganization, vigilance, confusion, things like that all drain our battery. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about is what kinds of things can we do that will help charge our battery, or at least keep it charged. That's one thing. Also, we know this. Being too busy equals stress. That's a no-brainer. And so busy doesn't mean aiming toward not being busy doesn't mean you can't have a very full life. It just means that we need to make sure that we are working in spaces of white and that we are super organized and efficient in what we're doing so that we are not overlapping activity after activity after activity. Undone projects drain our battery, so that whole concept of too many folders open at one time, focusing on one project to completion actually keeps our brain battery nice and strong instead of trying to eke out a whole bunch of different projects and not being successful at any of them. And general disorganization. So let's just jump right into it. We have a pretty good idea of how lack of productivity can affect our wellness. Obviously our stress goes up. Cortisol starts dumping everywhere, all those stress hormones. We get agitated and anxious. We don't sleep as well. And so for sure, productivity should be a wellness discussion. So let's just hit on a couple quick, hey, whoever just joined, let's just hit on a couple quick solutions. Number one, block and tackle. So block and tackle means you set aside a segment of time to address to completion one thing from beginning to end. So you don't check your phone during that time, you don't check an email during that time, you have one specific thing you're going to complete. You can keep it as small or as big, but you don't do anything else until that's done. There's a concept called context switching, where when you work on one thing, it has 100% of your focus. If you switch even to look at your phone or look at one of the other screens on your computer, you lose the ability to focus at 100%, but it's not even just that. So if you have two things going at one time, it's not 50-50 anymore, it's 40-40, because that amount of brain glucose it takes to switch from one activity to the other costs you. So two activities, you only have 80% of your focus available. 3 activities, 60%. So you can see how multitasking actually isn't more efficient, it's less efficient. It may feel like you're getting more done, but you're actually not. So focusing on one thing to completion actually makes you way more efficient, you'll get more done, and you will have that sense of accomplishment of completing specific things. So getting 10 things on your list partially done is not as good as getting 2 things fully done, right? Can I have an amen? Prioritization lists. We all do to-do lists, but do we put them in the order that we want to execute? Do we give our brain the opportunity to go, what am I focusing on first? I do this a lot because I find that when my to-do lists get really long, I'm like, oh, where do I even focus? But if I do them in the order that I intend to execute, that helps. Flexible in practice, right? It's never going to be perfect. But at least if we start out with the intention of, I'm going to list the things I need to do today in the order that I want to get them done, it sets my brain thinking in that manner. Writing tasks in time amounts. This was a game changer for me because one of the things that happens to me is I get really long to-do lists that I just keep transferring, number 18, 19, and 20, over to the next to-do list. But once I started attaching an approximate time, how much time and energy is it going to take me to do this? And I saw, oh, that task is actually probably only going to take me 15 minutes. Then you can just execute like that. Often I think we inflate how long a task is going to take us in our head, and then it serves to cause avoidance, and then we don't get it done, and then it's hanging over us, and it's draining our brain battery, okay? Which is not good for your wellness. Hey, Cynthia. Boy, you're up early. Okay, so writing tasks in time amounts, using a task timer, my favorite. Hello, task timer. So what this does is it helps you focus, okay? It's not your phone, so you can't see any texts coming through. You can't get distracted by anything else. All you see is, let's say you're allotting yourself 20 minutes for a task. You set this, you can see it from across the room, and it helps you focus because guess what, guys? We expand activities to the amount of time that we allow it. So if you allow an hour to get your house clean, you'll get your house clean in an hour. If you have somebody call and say, I'm coming in 15 minutes, you get your house clean in 15 minutes. Am I right? I think so. So these task timers you can get online. They just take a AA battery. I take mine with me all the time because I need to get a lot done in a little amount of time. Often I have pockets of time where I can get something done, and if I don't focus in, I have a very hard time buckling down. So if I set that little red thing and I see it, I'm like, I gotta go, it's go time. So the task timer is great. Also, splitting your lists into need to do versus nice to do. So very often our to-do lists are all jumbled tasks. Some are, I absolutely must get this done. Some are, I would like to get this done. So if you can separate those out to a need to do versus nice to do, then you can see where your prioritization is too. And you're not distracted by a bunch of stuff that isn't sort of a must right now. Delegation, huge, okay? People have a hard time with this. They have a hard time because they don't want to lose control. They like to feel like they can get everything done, but we are not effective if we are a stressed mess. And so I love what Debbie Rosemont from Simply Place said to me when I first hired her for organization help. She said, hire out what anyone can do so you can do what only you can do. I'm the only one that can write my very specific things that I like to write, but I can hire out someone to proofread it. I can hire out someone to format it. I can hire out someone to do my yard so that I can take that 2 hours and focus it in on what I need to get done. And so delegation and even trading with people. Like I have folks in my life who one friend really likes to garden, the other friend doesn't mind watching a bunch of kids, and so they just swap. And so delegation is a big, big key for productivity. Happy Pillow. I'm not going to go into the detail of that. I'm going to put the link below. If you've not watched the Happy Pillow video, I highly recommend it. It is a great way to end your day and go to sleep all relaxed and not worried about your next day at all because you've already planned it all out. Now, I had someone today say to me, well, I can't possibly do your kind of Happy Pillow where you draw out all the times of the day and you put in what you're going to do and how your day's going to go and how you want to see it unfold because my day is constantly changing. So was mine. But if I set an intention for the day of how I'd like to see it flow, what I'd like to get done, how long I want to spend on each task, I have a much calmer, less stressed day. more productive day than I would if I didn't do it. Does it unravel sometimes? Of course. Do I execute it perfectly sometimes? I do. And I put lots of check marks next to boxes, and it makes me feel good. So the Happy Pillow is a great option for those of you that are struggling with organization and time management. It's one that you want to not miss. Sleep cycle. This is kind of a random one, but my recommendation, flight boarding, my recommendation is that based on science, our sleep cycle is most effective if we keep it consistent. So same time to bed and same time up, even on the weekends. We don't catch up on the weekends because it actually doesn't work that way. And our productivity goes down if we are constantly shifting our sleep cycles. And so having a consistent wake-up time and a consistent morning routine that you do, again, even on the weekends, as much as possible, can be very helpful for productivity. Finally, the 20-10 focus. This is actually a study technique, but it works for projects as well. So focusing for 20 minutes, using your timer, 10-minute break, and that's a movement break. It's a dance break. So you get up, you move around, your brain processes the 20 minutes of project that you just did. You are way more focused, way more effective, and you get so much more done. People are like, I can't possibly get up every 20 minutes. You can, and if you do, you will have more done in those 2 blocks that you have in a 1-hour period by taking those 10-minute breaks. Okay guys, I've got my flight boarding over there, so I'm going to take off. I'm so glad you could join me today, and if you have any questions about this, I'm going to put some links down below that I think will be helpful. And don't forget, the Junk Show is always sponsored by the Change Cave, which is a 12-module online learning space for women wanting to up their wellness game. If you want to find out more, I'll put the link below. It's just $29.99 a month and cancelable at any time, and there are so many great things about it. I can't wait to share that with you, so click through on the link in the comments and you will find out more about it. So until next time guys, I will see you, and safe travels if any of you are traveling, safe weekends for those of you heading into a nice weekend, and I look forward to seeing you again next week with Allison from Curable. So you are not going to want to miss that. Okay guys, bye-bye.